Hey y'all, my name's Fran. I'm 26 years old and this is part 2 of my infertility journey and where we're at. So my last video I shared with you guys my miscarriage journey and just trying to figure out what was going on. If you guys didn't watch that video, I'll link it down below. Basically, I had 4 miscarriages in 2020 with not a lot of answers. So basically where I left off in the last video was saying I had gotten a hysteroscopy, and that is basically just to kind of check and make sure there's nothing physically wrong with like your ovaries or your lining or anything like that, or your tubes. And my results came back that everything was normal. All of our genetic testing for my husband and I came back totally normal. And so we had to sit down with my doctor. And so my biggest fear going into this meeting was he was going to want to test for so many other things, and we had already tested for basically everything. He was going to want to try doing months of other things when I kind of felt that IVF was going to be my journey. And I didn't really know, but that's just kind of the feeling. And from all the research I had done, that is what, you know, our journey was going to lead to. And so I just didn't want to try other options for months and months and months, and then we just end up trying IVF when we could just try it. So we sat down with our doctor and he basically gave us 2 options. We could try a medication to help with egg quality. He didn't really think that was the issue, but we could. One of the most famous medicines is Clomid, and it actually has a really high result in twin pregnancy. So he gave us that option. Or he said we could go straight into IVF, which is the path that we have chosen. Clomid wasn't something I wanted to give a chance. We all agreed, my doctor and my husband and I, that egg quality really wasn't the issue here, that it was obviously an abnormality in the embryos, and IVF is the best option for us. And so we basically started getting blood work done, and I was on birth control to kind of help normalize and stop my cycle. And so we were doing blood work, and when the optimal time came, I started my IVF medication to begin the process for the egg retrieval. It all happened really quickly, and so I was on a lot of different shots, and basically everyone's medication journey is different. I was put on Menopur, Gonal, and Cetrotide, and then my trigger shot was Ovidrel. So I did stims, like your stimulation shots, for a full 12 days, and it was such a journey. So medications can change visit to visit. You can get up to dose, you could stay the same, you could add a new medication. It's kind of wild. And so first I started with Gonal and Menopur, and I was so nervous to do the shots. I'm not a big fan of needles, and they told me to do it in my lower abdomen. So I decided to do the shots myself, and it took me like 45 minutes to get the courage to do one shot. I mean, I don't actually think it took a full 45 minutes, but it took quite a while. My legs turned purple. I was shaking. The needle wasn't painful at all. The medicines were fine. So for the first few days, the shots were super bearable. I was doing them myself and not a problem. Well, I started them a Sunday night, and we went in for a checkup like Tuesday or Wednesday, and the medication was working, but it wasn't working as well. And so sometimes when they need the medication to work a little bit better, and for your body to take it better, they'll have you do it in the back of your arm. And now I was administering my own shots, and I'm such a control freak that it was very helpful to do them myself. Because they were going to be in the back of my arm, my husband was going to have to do it. And I was terrified. I'd heard the back of the arm actually hurts worse. And then they decided to up my medication of Menopur, which is kind of known for burning. And so in my abdomen, there was really no pain, just a little bit of burning. And so we did the shots on my arm, and oh my word, that Menopur, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, if you have to take Menopur, it burns. And I did ice before, and that helped a little bit. Again, the needles were never the issue, it was the medicine. And Menopur, the way I was describing it to people was it felt like I was being branded, and I'm not exaggerating. That is how it felt. Now, only hurt as he was pushing in the medicine. The second he took the needle out, there was no pain. It was just administering it. yeah. And so a few days later I went in, my follicles were growing, and basically what they do with the IVF meds and the egg retrieval medications you're taking is they're growing the follicles so they can grab an egg out of each follicle. So they want them to grow evenly, they want to grow as many as they can without overstimulating you. And so I had a decent amount, they were measuring really well, but they wanted to up my meds. And I just remember the pharmacy, you can't just get fertility meds like in a drop of the hat. So like the pharmacy I was using that my insurance covered like took at least a day to deliver, and so it was just so crazy. So I had to use a different pharmacy which cost more, and then it ended up not costing, and it was super stressful. And one night I actually didn't realize I was out of a certain medicine, and I thought I had screwed up my whole cycle and that I was going to have to start it over. Anyway, I'm all over the place, but it was definitely a roller coaster. I ended up managing to get, it was a new gonal pen I needed, managed to get one. It was so stressful, but I didn't mess up my cycle, it was fine. And yeah, like I said, I did 12 days of stims, and I think after like a week I introduced Cetrotide, and then I started Sunday, and then the next Friday is when I did my shot. I did it at 10 p.m. and I did Ovidril. It wasn't super painful or anything. Had to do it right at 10 p.m. and I was super excited. They said my follicles are really like growing very evenly. I had a decent amount, and so I was so excited for my egg retrieval. You know, you're anticipating, you're waiting for everything, and I feel like it had gone just so quickly. We had just been in the office with my doctor saying we wanted to do IVF, and now I'm getting ready for my egg retrieval. So it was super crazy. So that was Friday night. My egg retrieval was Sunday morning, and I was so nervous. I mean, it's a very quick procedure. You are put under general anesthesia, and it's about 20-30 minutes, and it's just super quick. The IVs always hurt, but it's nothing, you know, you can't handle. And then I wake up and the doctor has told us that we had gotten 14 eggs, which I was over the moon about. I could not be more excited. I thought 14 was such a great number. You hear people who get 5, you know, eggs. You hear people who get like 30. So hearing 14, I felt really confident with that number. And so once you do the egg retrieval, you go home to rest for a few days, and then they'll update you on how your eggs are doing and if they fertilize with the sperm. Your partner does give a sperm sample to mix with your eggs that they've retrieved. And so, like I said, my egg retrieval was a Sunday night. So I got updated the following Monday, and then the following Friday and Saturday. And it's been an emotional roller coaster, to say the least. But Monday I got a call that 11 of our eggs fertilized with the sperm, which was really good. That means only 3 didn't fertilize. I was super happy with that. Our doctor had told us when I had woken up from my egg retrieval procedure that he was hoping for about 10 or 11 to fertilize. And so the fact that we had gotten 11 was amazing. We were so overjoyed, and I couldn't believe it. That's the thing. My husband said it perfectly. You can't have expectations in this process. And I did. I had high expectations. I was thinking the whole time, okay, we have 11 little baby embryos that need to grow. So I had Googled, which I know is not a healthy thing, but I'm human, and I researched this, that from the egg retrieval, the amount of eggs you get, you expect to, once they fertilize, lose about half at the very end. So I was like, okay, we started with 14, we have 11, half, like we should end with like 7 or 8. Like that seemed about right to me. I got a call on Friday from the embryologist while I was at work saying that we had about 5 that should be ready the next day to freeze and send off for genetic testing, and that the other 6 were growing a little more slowly, but they were still growing, so she was going to keep an eye on them. She, you know, these, you know, the embryologist, she was so kind, but you know, they are kind of just numb to all of this. They give good news to people, they give bad news to people every single day. And you know, she gives these calls probably hundreds of times a day, every single day. So they don't really show emotion in their voice because they don't want to. They, you know, one call could be amazing and the next call they could be, you know, breaking someone's heart. So I I don't blame her for just being like raw, and I was at work, so it's not like I could have had a long conversation with her, but I was like, that's good, and she was like, yeah, that's good, you know. And it's not like she gave me false hope, but she told me that 5 should be ready to fertilize the next, or to freeze the next day, and I heard we had 5, and that we could probably get a few more from the 6 that were growing slowly. And that is what I took from the conversation. That's not what she said, but that's kind of how I decided to take it. I was so excited. I, you know, told some friends and family, and I was just pumped. And the last call I was going to get was going to be the next day on Saturday. And I was just so excited. I was like, okay, we have 5. We'll probably get a few more. We're probably going to get that 7 or 8, or even just 1 more is going to be great. I get a call, and I'm actually, you know, I'm working, so I'm busy with a customer. And so I listen to the voicemail when I'm done, and I just break down. This is still very raw, still very emotional about it. Today is Monday, and I got this news this past Saturday, so it's been just a few days. And the voicemail said that 3 were going to be frozen and set off for genetic testing. The other ones didn't grow, the other ones didn't make it. I went from having what I thought was, you know, 5 plus a few more, to now having only 3. And I should, you know, be happy. I should be grateful for the 3, and I am. But in that moment, you know, you just hope that you're going to get a handful. You hope you're going to get more. You know, you want more, because now we have to send them off for genetic testing, which is what we're choosing to do. Because if you haven't watched my last video, we had a DNC, and that showed us that the embryo we were carrying was genetically abnormal. And so we're doing the genetic testing to see and to make sure we do not implant a genetically abnormal embryo. So it's a lot. And, you know, with genetic testing, you usually expect half to come back normal and half to come back abnormal. So I have 3. So I could either have 1 that's normal, 2 that's normal, you know, 2 that are abnormal, all 3 are abnormal, all 3 are normal. It's just, you want more. You want more options, because you hope to have embryos frozen that are healthy for future pregnancies. And obviously we're very focused on this first pregnancy and having a healthy pregnancy and having a healthy baby. But doing the egg retrieval, it's, you know, all these hormones you're injecting into your body, and it's stressful and it's emotional, it's painful, and you don't want to have to do it again. And so for me, it just felt like, you know, what if we only end up with 1 and that 1 doesn't work, and then we have to do this process all over again? You know, it's just, your mind just starts spiraling, and it's just so emotional. And I've heard of people who have gotten, you know, no embryos at the very end, and or only 1, and that 1 came back abnormal. You know, I've heard all these stories. I've heard people who have had like 10 that they're freezing and they're all normal. You know, you hear all these different stories, and you just hope that you end up with, you know, a handful that'll be healthy. And I'm so grateful, and, you know, I'm praying and I'm hoping, and I'm just, you know, trying to be patient, because it's going to take a few weeks to find out about the genetic testing. And I'm just hoping, you know, we get at least 1 healthy embryo that we can then transfer and, you know, have a healthy pregnancy. But it's a lot. And the fact that I have to wait 2 weeks to find out if, you know, we can move forward with the transfer, if I'm going to have to do another egg retrieval, it's a lot. You know, we have been waiting. We started trying in November 2019, and it is almost April 2021. So I know people have waited longer, but it just feels like we've been waiting a lifetime to start our family. And we're young, we're 26. It shouldn't matter that we're 26 and we're young. You know, we're trying, and it's just, it feels so unfair. And, you know, I'm grateful to have found this out younger, so that we have a little more time to, you know, figure this out. And it's not like we're getting older and it'll be harder, but it's still hard, and it's still stressful, and it's just been a lot. So right now it's just a waiting game. You know, I feel like I just threw a lot of information out. My last video was trying to figure out next steps, and we've already started. You know, we've started part 1 of IVF, we've done our egg retrieval, and we have 3 little maybe babies. And I'm just praying that, you know, like I said, I would love for them all 3 to be normal, but, you know, praying for at least one, because it just takes one. But it's a lot. It's a lot of emotions. Cried enough about it, so I'm not gonna cry more, but it's definitely an intense and a stressful journey. And if you've ever been through the egg retrieval process and stims, they're not fun. Especially if your medication is being upped, it's just more painful, more uncomfortable. You're super bloated. During the stimulation, the 2 weeks I was doing those shots, I was super exhausted. I was a little nauseated and just bloated, extremely bloated. After the egg retrieval, you're even more bloated, more nauseous, and just uncomfortable. You know, I wasn't in pain after my egg retrieval. It just felt kind of like period cramps, but it's just been a journey, and I'm sharing my journey because it's therapeutic, and I know other people are going through the same thing, and I just want to share my journey and hope it helps, and hope it helps me sharing it. I feel like I've been doing a lot of redecorating in my house to like help with my emotional trauma I feel like I've been through, but I'm very grateful to be going through this journey no matter how hard it is, because it's getting us one step closer to starting our family. So, you know, that's what matters. But yeah, that's our update. I'll film another video when we find out, you know, an update from the genetic testing results. Hoping to be sharing good news, and then hopefully being able to document our transfer story. So that's all I have for you in today's video. Let me know if there's any other videos you want me to do along this IVF journey. I'd be glad to film them for you guys. If you have any questions, again, just leave them in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.